All right, all right.
I gotta leave it up just so I can shut off the volume.
Right. This here should come up. Here it is.
It's showing already?
Yes. Oh, wait, it says notify me. Wait, is it going? Oh, I see. No, it's setting up. It's telling me that it's about to be live, but it says it's going to do it in 5 minutes for some reason.
Why? Oh no, let's do it right now. It's up.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, good. Talk.
All right.
Okay, I want to make sure that was off. All right, we're still waiting for Tanton.
Yes, but there we are. Great.
Okay, this. I'm going to hide. We don't need that. Okay, we're just waiting for numbnuts.
All right. Well, everyone else is here in YouTube land. We're just waiting for our guest to arrive. Hope you're having a great Saturday. It's a beautiful day, Culver City. This.
Do I have the right one? Oh, yeah, I do, because it said some guys have all the luck.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't do that if this wasn't the Zoom.
Right. Everyone's getting behind the scenes footage here. Darrell and Ed. Getting ready for liftoff. Middle School Studios. Let's see what he said.
What do you say?
My computer is restarting. We must have, what do you call it? Adele?
Yeah, but don't kick him. Don't kick a man while he's down with his Dell. We'll just bless it.
All right, all right. Okay. There we go. Facebook is up. Okay, great.
Oh, what do you say? Oh, got it.
All right, we got a few folks out there. Hello, hello.
Are you going to show them your hat?
A new hat. Good gamers. Some guys have all the luck.
Okay, good. Because sometimes when you look on this, I accidentally put my hat on and it's a little to one side or the other. So, wow. Kirky's excited in Germany.
Oh, that's exciting. Jennifer's probably in Santa Monica. People are waiting to see us get started. Today's show is called Some Guys Have All the Luck.
Yeah.
With double veteran, Army and Marine veteran Bennett Tanton. He was on the show many times in the past. So he recently reconnected through the YouTube
live stream.
He also has daughters, and a family.
Yes, and a wife.
You know how that
and
goes.
Dogs.
Who knows what's coming up for him at this moment?
What do you see now?
I see a great looking live stream happening.
Oh, you could also let him know he can get on with his phone.
True. I don't want to complicate it. Yeah. Got some great readings, great mail, great story about Bennett.
Oh, yeah. Am I going to share the Blue Angels story?
Yeah, it's so good. It is the good that happens when we, celebrate what we're excited about.
Yeah.
We got to get excited about life.
I was very excited. I watched that documentary twice.
Wow.
Because there was nothing on at one point. So I go, am I going to watch it? But it doesn't feel long.
Yeah.
And you could watch any like 5 minutes of it and you get high. And then 10 minutes, so you don't even have to watch it all at once.
Just like the books we read.
Yeah.
Medicine in every chapter, every paragraph.
So it was so uplifting. I go, I'll just put this on again. And then when I was like bored while I was eating a sandwich, I just plopped it back, where I left off. Yeah. And you're like, wow. It really is like a positive meditation, positive mind conditioning, which is another definition for prayer.
Oh, that's great. That's right. It's turning on the air conditioning in your brain so it feels better. Enjoy life.
Did Bennett send up another flare?
Not yet. I wonder what Kirky's doing right about now in Germany.
No air conditioning.
Not allowed?
Europe has no AC. Yeah. That's one of the benefits about staying in a hotel when you're on vacation there. Well, some hotels, not all of them.
If you're just joining us on YouTube, we're still waiting for our guest to log in.
Where is that guy?
We're happy you're with us. We're very excited. Let's see. See if we got any other word from Bennett here.
What do you say?
Now we got a notification from YouTube that we're live. That's good to know. There we go.
Oh. What do you say?
Kirky says, you guys have no guest. We have a guest who's texting us that his computer had to restart. So if he does not, something doesn't work out.
Here he is.
Oh, he made it. Thanks for checking in though, Kirk. Otherwise we might have to call you out of the bullpen.
Bennett, let's see that beautiful mug.
All right, we're almost there, folks. There he is.
Oh man, he's got his night vision on.
Night vision goggles. Amazing. What's up, Bennett?
What's up? Hold on, let me move this from this side to this side. Because, this is like the first time every time, right? Every time we do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same for us. And we do it every week.
It's unbelievable.
Looking good, man.
Yeah, lovely.
Well, you guys are the ones looking good. Look at you.
It's kind of like almost like a visual reverse negative. Like your background is dark and your skin is very white. Our background wall is white, but we have the California tan. The dark.
You do have the California tan. I do live in upstate New York.
Yeah. So we're going opposites there. But so we're gonna get started, and if you could mute and turn your camera off for the first segment, 28, 30 minutes, and then we'll bring you in.
So you'll be able to see us.
We're also
and hear
streaming
us.
on live. Oh no, you know that. That's how you saw us recently on YouTube. So. Yeah. But we're super grateful you're here.
Okay, we'll see you in a few.
Sorry I was so late.
No problem,
No problem, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Usually it's us, so thank you.
Bye.
We never get upset at Tanton.
Nope.
All right, guys.
All right, buddy. See you soon.
Okay, we'll see you in a minute.
All right.
You
We're
ready?
recording, correct?
Yes. Welcome to The Funniest Thing.
Yes.
Where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Oh, thank goodness it does.
I'm Darrell.
I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from middle school studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Oh my God, it's a beautiful day out here. It's amazing this studio stays as cool as it does given the heat going on outside.
It is amazing.
But you know what? That's why our show is called Some Guys Have All the Luck with Bennett Tanton. Some guys have all the luck. Some guys and gals do nothing but complain. Those lyrics from a 1980s pop song sum up spiritual truth perfectly. Whatever we are complaining about, we are casting ourselves as the victim of that very thing. We are sending a negative message to our subconscious mind, telling it that we are a victim. When we do, the subconscious goes to work to make it so, and we will encounter more to complain about. Remember, gratitude is the law of increase. Complaint is the law of decrease. Knowing this to be true, let us commit to appreciating more and more and complaining less. On this episode, Darrell and Ed encourage listeners to start employing St. Paul's three-step system for success. Trust steadily in God, hope unswervingly, love extravagantly, and the best of these is love.
And I think he put his finger up and said that.
And the best of these is love. And that's from Corinthians 1 Corinthians 13, I believe.
Yep.
And Terry Benoit sent us a card that we'll read later where she mentioned that. So, and during the second segment, battle-tested optimist. I love that. Battle-tested optimist. The most optimistic people you meet will have been battle-tested, you'll find. Bennett Tanton gets us to transmute the energy we'd expend on complaining into fuel for taking inspired action with today's reading, Pray to Win.
Well, you know what got me fired up with this title for the show?
What was it?
The Create Your Best Life via Journaling. This was the topic
Wow.
of the first lesson.
Yes.
And
And
so
that's the class Darrell started teaching
Yes.
this Wednesday. You can still jump on. There's 3 more classes. You can even watch the first segment, he records them all. And so if you go to darrellanded.com or thiswillmakeyouhappy.com, you can still sign up and jump on. There's 3 more Wednesdays coming.
yes. And so if you're listening and you're in the workshop, well, great, because this is going to just give you more fuel and positive ideas to consider as you're moving forward with your journaling. And all those listening who aren't a part of the workshop, we have a great, simple spiritual truth to hammer home. And I'm telling you, that song lyric sums it up perfectly. Mm-hmm. Some guys have all the luck. Some guys do nothing but complain. The ones that have all the luck seem to be those people who complain the least, and the ones that have all the problems, and this happens to us throughout our day, seem to be the ones who complain the most. And what I mean by that is, when I start complaining, I have to remember that I'm casting myself as a victim. And the subconscious mind is power without direction. The conscious mind gives it the direction. So my subconscious mind, hearing these words within my mind or to others spoken, goes, oh, okay, I forgot. And we talked about this on an episode we did with Mark and Aisha.
Yes.
Because he's casting himself as the victim now. So
yes.
We better give him some more problems.
Yes.
And another thing came up on Thursday during Nancy Norman's Infinite Prosperity Workshop, which all of you can attend. It's a love offering. Every week she does the class. And you can find that at unityjoyoflife.com. .org, sorry. And what she brought up, because we're reading Georgina Tree West's 10 Commandments of Prosperity. And this was written in the early part of last century.
I think it's Georgia.
You sure? I thought it was Georgia.
I'll look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's Georgia Tree West.
It's either Georgia or Georgiana.
Georgia.
Anyway, she takes the 10 Commandments, because they're metaphysical laws for the application of how we
you're
move
right,
through
Georgiana. I've been saying it wrong. Georgiana Tree West.
As we move through our day. Mm-hmm. And the first commandment is there will be no other gods before thee, the 10 Commandment. So we got to think, because I would think, no, I don't put any gods before God. I believe in God as the one God. Well, I may be saying that, but anytime I'm complaining, well, I'm making that thing I'm complaining about my God in that moment. Or anything I'm concerned about, I'm putting that before the one God, and the one God being all is good, right?
Yep.
And all will go well if I keep my mind on that belief. But as soon as we're complaining, I'm believing in, as soon as I'm complaining, I'm believing in a different higher power. You know, Mike Dugan, who was my mentor when I met him, I was like, I don't know about this. You know, because the God I had been familiar with wasn't very nice. The one I had heard about,
Right.
you know, you beg and beg and beg, and he might just decide, I don't really like you, Darrell. There's something about you I just don't like, so I'm not going to answer those things, no matter how much you beg.
Or you did this thing back then, so you don't deserve what you.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were a bad boy, so I'm sorry.
Right.
Well, he helped me see that the God I had a problem with was not the God any of these scriptures is talking about once you unlock the esoteric meaning. But more than that, he said, well, I don't know why you're having a problem believing in a God. He goes, you've had a lot of gods before I met you. And that's when it dawned on me, yeah, once I get this new girlfriend, everything's going to be great. You know, once I go to college, everything's going to be great.
Yeah.
You know, once I join the Coast Guard, everything's going to be great.
Right.
Like I would make even, you know, short-term things my higher power in the moment, but none of those gave me any long-term relief or success.
Right.
All that did help me become was a great starter and a lousy follow-througher.
Right. Wow. Yeah, because we're relearning to put our faith in this God that is the essence of life, which is it's based on principle, and it's always about ever increasing good. It's about our worthiness is never in question. All that we desire is always available to us, but we have to adjust the way we're looking at the world often. And for me, one of the gods I've worshiped in the past is I'm not good enough, and you know it because of the way you feel.
Yes.
Your feelings indicate, like, are you worshiping at the altar of fear or worshiping at the altar of love? And a good way to shift back into it, because it can feel like a really heavy task. It can feel like, what's the use? Because our subconscious mind is so powerful that once it starts believing and projecting out a story, it moves mountains. Like we start to experience it.
Yeah.
But what Darrell said when he said the conscious mind must make the decision.
Yeah.
We have to remember that our subconscious mind will listen to us, but we have to make a declaration and a decision about what is real. So we have to reprogram ourselves to remember what we naturally know to be true and get excited about the things that naturally excite us and be loving and kind and appreciative, which is really our natural state.
Yeah, and you were talking the other day about the problems are not on the same frequency.
That's right.
As our good.
That's right.
What do we mean? Well, if I'm thinking about things that are making me upset, that whole feeling and how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like watching a different channel on a TV set.
Yeah.
But our greater good is always on the station JOY, joy.
That's right.
Because joy is what created us. Joy is at the center of us.
Yes. That's
You know,
right.
The strength of the Lord, joy is the strength of the Lord. It's the strength of our inner being. It's what's radiating life. It's like what you were saying. It's the expansive feeling. It's the optimistic feeling. That's life itself. It's love. It's not contracting like fear, concern.
That's right.
And pessimism. So an easy way to shift, this may sound like, oh my God, but I got all this that you don't understand. Yeah, we all understand because we all go through it.
Yep.
And we've all have learned we have to make the decision. And the easiest decision we can make is to start opening up or tuning into the channel of joy with gratitude, appreciation.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're starting to I've been reading Emma Curtis Hopkins, this book, Scientific Christian Mental Practice, and she's both her and this book, Wallace Wattles, Science of Getting Rich, talk about faith being a necessary component.
Yes.
And she refers to faith as firmness in mind. And if you think about it, when you're sure you're a victim or you're sure things are bad, you're so firmly believing that you're going to call people and ask for help.
Yeah.
You're going to tell people that story. That is firmness. That is the willingness to say, this is bad. I am sick, or I am poor. But if you could flip that firmness, and it takes practice, she says, firmness as to mind or good being the power does not make the good come out right. It makes us see the good in its true light. All is good in reality. And this is why joy, you said joy is our nature, because all is good in reality. We have the power to see things in reality. We see things in reality by being firm in our minds. Firmness to any principle will expose a power. More than that, it will expose the very thing you seek. It says, we are determined that all is good. If we are determined that all is good, we shall not be limited to the voice within nor the voice without. Everything will bear witness that we are in God or good. Then there is no seeking and no command to be firm. We are firm and fixed in our eternal Godhead and power.
I just saw this quote. I think it was from Dante, who wrote Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
And because that's not sometimes people read that and they misinterpreted that story
Right.
as literal. But it's a story of how our mind works. And one of the things he said, which goes along with this, is it doesn't take a decision to enter hell. Meaning, when we're not consciously choosing to move towards the things we desire, or we know what is right to do in the moment, or we're not following our intuition, well, then our subconscious, because now our conscious mind isn't giving the orders, our mind is going to start being conditioned by what our parents have told us, what people in the news are telling us, what we hear gossiped on the phone from a friend, whatever it is. And that's what he means by that. If we're that by not choosing, not making a decision on a daily basis as to what role we're going to play in each moment to moment, well, if you just don't choose and you're just floating along, taking whatever comes in and listening and digesting it, well, then you're going to start feeling bad.
Yes.
And that's what hell is, a state of mind. It's not a place we go to. It's a place anytime I fall off these ideas that are actually congruent with the expanding truth of the universe.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to feel bad.
That's right.
But it's so easy. I'm not easy. It's simple to get back.
Yeah.
It just takes a little firmness of mind, like you're saying, a little willingness to apply discipline. And remember, discipline, the real definition of discipline is to go in a good way. I'm going to choose my mind to go in a good way.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And sometimes we have to say, all these teachers will talk about the importance of denial. We have to say a strong no to the part of us that is denying the good. That's why denial comes into place, because part of us is already denying the good, and hell always is accompanied by a feeling of powerlessness. And if we believe in that powerlessness, then we are in hell. But here's the deal, it's not true. The moment we make a declaration to the universe that, no, I don't believe I'm powerless, yes, I am powerless, and then stick with it long enough, we'll start to see results. And it doesn't take long.
No.
And one of the things that helps is gratitude. And Wallace Wattles in The Science of Getting Rich has a chapter called Gratitude, and he says, the whole process of mental adjustment and attunement can be summed up in one word: gratitude.
Yes.
First, you believe that there is one intelligent substance from which all things proceed. There's one intelligent substance from which all things proceed. Secondly, you believe that this substance gives you everything you desire. That's principle. And thirdly, you relate yourself to it through a feeling of deep and profound gratitude. He says, it's also easy to understand that a soul that is always grateful lives in closer touch with God than the one who never looks to him in thankful acknowledgement. When good things come to us, the more gratefully we fix our minds on the supreme power, the more good things we will receive.
Yeah.
The more rapidly they will come. The reason for this is simply that the mental attitude of gratitude draws the mind into closer touch with the source from which the blessings come. Gratitude will lead your mind out along the ways by which things come, and it will keep you in close harmony with creative thought and prevent you from falling into competitive thought. Gratitude alone can keep you looking toward the infinite and prevent you from falling into the error of thinking that the supply of riches is limited, and to think that would be fatal to your hopes. And this is a big deal, right? What he's saying there. He warns, stay out of competition. Stay out. Competition is built on the false belief that there's not enough to go around and we have to fight each other to get it in some way. Creative thought is an awareness that there's infinite abundant substance and we get to create along with it.
Yes.
And that the desires in our heart, that he says it's healthy to continue to expand and grow and increase. He says when we stop feeling, and that's that feeling when we're excited, like you with the Blue Angels that you were talking about.
Yeah.
That you can share that. When we're excited, we're feeling increase. We're getting better at things. We look forward to learning something new.
Yeah.
That is the healthy way of living. And if we're not feeling that, some people, like, I kind of feel like a lot of adulthood almost is like, well, you're done increasing. You're done. So just learn how to cope with slowly dying kind of. And that is not healthy and it's not necessary. We can still be like children with our enthusiasm. And dude, the other day I was at the chicken shop getting a couple tacos. I think it was like their $2 chicken tenders special, and I got a taco with it. And I was standing outside, and I was waiting to use the restroom, and this guy goes, "Ed, it's locked. There's someone in there." And I said, "What?" And then he said something else, and I said, "Hey, how do you know my name?" And he's like, "I didn't say your name." It sounded like to my ear, and I said, "Oh, I'm a teacher. I thought maybe," because he was like an 18-year-old kid. I was like, "Maybe I taught you before." And he's like, "My name's Gabriel." And he says, "How old are you?" And I said, "I'm 50. And he goes, "Oh my God, I just hope I'm like you when I'm 50. He's like, "Your hair, I don't know, whatever I was wearing." And it was just like the universe coming forward saying, keep going, Ed. Keep shifting out of that dour, worrisome state of mind, this bull crap where you think you're limited in any way. Don't let anyone ever convince you of that. Stay young. Because when you're a kid, you know something deep inside is possible. You don't go to others and say, "Is this possible?" Your mind, you just feel it. You know it.
Well, funniest thing. Yesterday, I did my morning routine, felt great, went for a walk, so excited because I have all these wonderfully positive things going on that I'm interested in doing, that are the workshop, the Create Your Best Life via Journaling workshop I'm so enthusiastic about. And I got home, and on our street, a few of they're building, there's some developers building some homes, new homes in the area. And I have a very small curb in front of our house, and a big truck was in it, and a portion of the truck was in our driveway. And I thought, well, it's going to make it hazardous for Lori to pull out.
Right.
And then my mind's, because I thought that little bit of concern, once you let a little concern in, more concern follows.
Yep.
Birds of a feather flock together, and so do thoughts of a feather.
Yeah, like you're saying, once we switch onto that frequency,
now
we're tuning into this whole thing that goes along with it.
So I started thinking, this guy, should I say something? And should I not say something? Should I go look to see who it is? Maybe I should just call the city. But part of me, there was this healthy part of me goes, no, he'll probably be gone by the time Lori needs to leave. But then the concerned part, the competitive side, goes, yeah, but still, this guy's got to know he's obviously way into the driveway.
Right.
I better tell him.
Right.
So this is going back and forth. Finally, I asked Lori, wait, when are you leaving? Because I knew she had a photo shoot. She says, I'm getting ready to leave now. I'm leaving in about 10 minutes. So I said, well, there's a truck in front and the front of it's in the driveway. Just don't worry. I could kind of get through there. But it's funny. My mind wanted to continue to be concerned. Yeah, but you're going to have to really pay attention to not. I mean,
Yeah,
like
sure,
this is going to
sure.
be a hardship for you.
Right, I get that.
And then she said, well, if it is, I'll go say something. I don't want you to go say anything. And I said, okay. And I let go of it. And she said, and you know what? If it's one of the contractors, those guys are working hard and she goes, and parking's difficult. I go, yeah, especially I was green. She said, parking's difficult. I said, yeah, especially on our tiny street. So all of a sudden, now I'm starting to like this guy. And I started thinking, yeah, if it was Ed or Bennett and I saw them and I'd be like, no, it's cool, man. You could stay there with your truck. Lori could get around it. But because it's a stranger and because, it's a developer in the neighborhood, like those guys, it's easy to hate,
Yeah.
It's silly. So all of a sudden my whole vibe changed and I go back to cooking my lunch and Lori finishes getting her car all packed up. She closes her door, choomp, and I hear another choomp.
Oh, wow.
I look out the front. The guy is in his truck, starts it up, and drives away.
Wow.
So I don't care if you folks listening go, well, that's a nice coincidence. You know what? I stopped believing that this is just dumb luck.
No way.
Because this
Yeah.
happens all the time. And I know for a fact, if I had continued to fight in my mind, he would have been delayed. I mean, it's happened. I've seen it. So the quicker we jump on board with these ideas, and this is why we get so excited.
Yes.
It's not just Darrell and Ed talking about this stuff because it's fascinating stuff to talk about, which it is.
Right.
But we get all enthusiastic about it because we're experimenting with it in our lives and getting the results of practicing these scientific methods of, the system of using these metaphysical, scientific ways of positively, what did I call it? Positively working with our minds. And when I mean positively, I don't just mean we're just thinking positively. No, positively means incongruent with the laws of the universe.
Yes.
Life is always trying to live. Have you ever tried to get rid of weeds? They just keep coming back.
Yeah.
Life is always healing. It's always on the side of health, wealth, progress.
Yes.
If it wasn't, we wouldn't be here.
Yes.
A wound would never heal.
That's right.
So this is incredible stuff, folks.
Yeah,
And and you know what's funny? This is what helped me too, because I just hammered home, some guys have all the luck. This is why it's good. You teach this stuff and it really gets in your subconscious.
Yes.
Because what helped me not really get that agitated about, like bigger part of me knew better, was because I just got done hammering home.
Yep.
Some guys have all the luck. Some guys do nothing but complain. I'm like, Darrell, if you keep complaining and being concerned about this, it's going to persist in the direction you do not.
That's right.
You're concerned about it going.
Yes.
So wouldn't you rather be the guy that has all the luck? And then what happens? It would seem to an outsider, if they saw Lori get in her car, that guy pull away and her pull out, wow, you guys are lucky. But they didn't see me in my kitchen doing all this mental.
Or they would have thought you went
switch.
over there and told them to move right then.
It was
but the
crazy.
universe did it for you. And you're saying why we get excited. We get excited because we were feeling the power of the universe flow through us in that moment. Because the moment we see it, we realize we are it and we feel it. It's more than just a contrived sense of excitement. It is literally like us opening the gateway for the joy of the universe to flow through us. And that's when we know things
Yes.
we don't realize we know, and we do things we don't know we can realize we can do, or we get such a deep knowing about what we can do. And I love it because when you were talking, I realized, like this thing said, the greatest of these is love. Trust steadily in God, hope unswervingly, and love extravagantly. And the best of these is love. And I realize we give to ourselves what we give to others. Because if I can find it in my heart to be like, when I think I made a mistake, to say, oh, well, it's hard to park on this street.
Yes.
You're not trying to be a jerk. Instead of condemning myself, which is something I'm letting go of, then what I give to others, I give to myself, and so on and so forth. And then, like you, I've been doing that with school, which is, I've had a lot of reason to complain and such, but because like the district's making this choice, letting go of one of the great teachers at her school the very last day because of some bureaucracy, right the day before school starts, and things happening or whatever, and I'm going to tell this person. And then I realize, you know what though, Ed? Be glad you're hearing being reminded of how these things work in that environment. Start letting it go now and let God, and start visualizing what you want now.
Yes.
And don't worry about what anyone else is doing, and just let God take care of it. And when I do, I look around at my own situation, and my situation just keeps getting better and better and better. We need to do some breaths.
Yeah, I just want to say Corinthians 13:13 is what we've been referring. And in the Fillmore Metaphysical Bible, because it says the final thing is the greatest of all these three is love.
Right.
And he's talking about faith, hope, love.
Yeah.
The greatest is love.
And he's talking about loving extravagantly,
Yes.
as Terry Benowar talks about in this card we'll read.
But the reason, this is from the Metaphysical Bible, love is greater than faith or hope because its full expression includes faith and hope as well as love.
Yes.
And that's why Lori being able to say, it's hard to park and these guys are working hard all the time, that her love all of a sudden zapped me and my mind switched to, like I no longer saw this guy as a problem in my life, a thorn in my side,
God,
but
so
all
good.
of a sudden I love this guy.
Yes.
And then I had to click like, if this was Bennett or Ed, I'd be like, no problem. She could get around. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it was like, I felt that like it was no longer an issue. And then boom, he gets in his car and pulls away. I mean, it was crazy.
And I felt it even in your telling of the story. As soon as Lori told you that and then you switched, I felt myself go, oh yeah, I love this contractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel it. Let's do this. Let's thank the Patreon folks, patreon.com/funniest thing. Thank you guys for contributing. If you're not contributing yet and you'd like to, just go to patreon.com/funniest thing. You can buy Darrell and Ed a cup of coffee each month if you're benefiting from the show, and it highly benefits us. There's also a Tuesday, 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Pacific. We do a prosperity Zoom. We record it. We place it on the Patreon as well, so you can watch it later. You can attend that because we all need tune-ups throughout the week. That's one of our tune-ups. So we got, if you want to send us something, funniest thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232. We got a nice postcard from Kirky. If you don't know, we're live streaming on YouTube as we speak. Saturdays, 1 p.m. Pacific. So Saturdays, 1 p.m. on the West Coast, 4 p.m. on the East Coast, 3 p.m. if you're in like Kansas City. But
wait, what time is it here?
It's 1 p.m.
So that means it's 10 p.m. in Germany and Kirky's watching.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. What time would it be in England where Grace Deathridge might watch?
10 p.m.
Also? Okay, great.
9 hours.
So Kirky sent us a nice postcard, and it says, guys, Alan Cohen says, the world is but a mirror of our mind. Dude, your story, exactly.
Yes.
The outside proceeds from the inside. To recognize that the world is a story we made up is the beginning of liberation from false causation and all the sorrow it engenders. And then the front says, ignore the ghosts. Because that's really what it is.
That was a ghost. I saw a ghost.
We got to be willing to tell ourselves
It's just a ghost.
and it's just a lie if it feels bad.
If it feels
like
bad,
to call
it's a ghost.
ourselves out on it, like this is a lie, a ghost, it's not real. And then be willing to be like a kid. I don't know who I am. I'm still learning who I am. I'm remembering who I am. So Terry Benoir sent us a card. On the front it says, Darrell and Ed, two guys rolling through life with love and laughter in their hearts. And it's me surfing on a little pond, and Fazzaro's walking around with a big heart saying yes. And it says, Dear Darrell and Ed, your recent Funniest Thing episode, The Role of a Lifetime with Aisha and Mark Livingston, was one of your best episodes yet. This morning, while doing my daily reading with my dear cat Enzo by my side, condolences, Darrell, for the passing of your Enzo the cat. I was inspired to pick from the pile the message and to read Corinthians 13. The two words that stayed with me were love extravagantly from 13:13. A couple hours later, while driving from Sacramento 2 hours east on I-80, I listened to this episode of the show, and you were speaking of examining your responses and reactions and then responding with kindness instead of your natural reaction. So I decided I would drive sending extravagant, loving thoughts to all the other drivers rather than my usual thoughts to drivers who irritate me. I equally sent thoughts of extravagant love to drivers who were courteous. It made a huge difference in the ease of the drive, the enjoyment of the scenery, and my stress level. It's so true that we can be shocked by how unloving and unkind our thoughts can be. As you pointed out, the trick is to examine it, recognize it, then act with kindness and love. It is a game changer, and the more we do it, the more it becomes our first reaction. Keep sharing your stories and truths. Love to you both, Terry Benoir. P.S. Darrell, your pickle story was hilarious, and the funniest thing is that just yesterday, my best friend and I had a conversation about her nephew's local pickle company, which are sold at farmers markets and restaurants. That coincidence added to the laughter. Amazing. All right, so we got some breaths, and then we're going to bring in our guest here. Let's take a deep breath to clear our mind. Well, first we should give thanks to this great prophet, Sir Rod Stewart.
Sir Rod Stewart.
One more breath. These are the original lyrics. Now I give only love. I have no reason to complain. You can clean that up a bit here.
Now I give only love. I have no reason to complain.
So true. Now I give only love. I have no reason to complain. All right, coming up next, battle-tested optimist Bennett Tanton gets us to transmute the energy we'd expend on complaining into fuel for taking inspired action with today's reading, Pray to Win. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, live from middle school studios in beautiful Culver City, the heart of Screenland. All right.
I hope Bennett uses that description on his memoir.
All right, let's go quick. Let's
The
pee.
memoir of a battle-tested
real quick.
optimist.
We're going to bring in our guest.
Yes. There he is. Now, do you have to use the restroom?
No, I'm good.
Or as you like to call it, the latrine?
The latrine. or the head.
Oh, man, guess what I'm doing this tomorrow, buddy?
What's that?
I'm going to be at the American Legion tent for the Camarillo Air Show, which is the Thunderbirds, the Air Force.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be there bragging about the American Legion and, veterans and to all the civilians, which is fun. It gives me an hour and a half of something like service, to be of service, which is the best way to meet people. You know what I mean? Instead of just
absolutely.
because you're engaged and you have all these like kids and their parents who aren't veterans and they're asking questions and you get to be a good example, you know what I mean? And then you'll also meet a ton of like veterans that you would have never just met if you attended the air show, because you're like engaging with people and you have a reason to engage. So when the lieutenant commander of the American Legion, which I don't go any of their meetings, sent this email out. I was like, sure, I'll do it. So I'll be there tomorrow. I'm going to just use the restroom quick.
Yeah, let's go. All right, Bennett, man, we're so glad you're back, dude.
Hey, Ed. What's up?
Oh, my God. It's a beautiful day out here. Just been surfing.
I see you guys got the door cracked and everything.
Oh, yeah. We're back in middle school studios, Darrell's home studio here. We were in Burbank for a while.
Yeah, I saw one episode where you guys were, like in a studio. So
oh man, it worked out so amazing. Like that was perfect for the couple years we were there, and then life took a turn and we're back here, and this is just better than ever, and we're just so happy. Yeah, now we're live streaming too, which we weren't able to do when we were in Burbank, so this is so sweet, man.
It is.
It's nice
yeah,
to be able to
I'm in
have
my
people.
dungeon.
Yeah, I love it, man.
/ office.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to
recording studio, office, whatever you want to call it.
How are the girls?
Oh man, I just delivered our 18-year-old, Addison. We just delivered her to college.
Oh man.
So yesterday we dropped her off. She's playing volleyball too. So she's like,
where's she at?
In Sunioniana.
How far is that from you? How far is it away?
About 2 hours. It's like halfway between us and the city.
Bro, dude, that's a blessing because my son was only in Berkeley, which is like 7 hours. And
yeah, right.
Oh, man, it was so hard, though, dude. It crushed me, man, when he went. I don't know how you were feeling, but it crushed me, man.
Yeah, no, 2 hours is good. I mean, my oldest daughter, she's been in North Carolina for years. So
okay.
That's kind of rough. But then, so you've got her, we've got one in nursing school, one that we just delivered to college, and then the youngest is 15. So
man, you guys are doing it all.
Well, God knew what he was doing when he gave Bennett daughters.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what.
It's called karma.
Well, it also, like, I'm sure, well, at least I would know if I was a young guy and wanted to go out with one of your daughters, I'd be like, wait a minute, this guy was in the Marines and the Army? Like, wait, your dad was what? Oh, no, okay.
Right.
I'll be
Right.
So
yeah, they all, for some reason, they all think I'm in like the CIA or something.
Good.
Perfect.
Exactly. I play right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
They'll be on their best behavior.
I don't know, but maybe
that's like when I'm at work and people say to me, "Oh my God, I know you're so busy right now. Can I ask?" And I don't tell them. Well, I'm actually just relaxing right now. I go, "Oh yeah, really busy, man. What do you need?" And then,
so busy.
"Oh, I'm so grateful you could help me." You know. All right. Well, Mr. CIA, let's bring the show back in, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. All right, welcome back to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Today's show is Some Guys Have All the Luck with Bennett Tanton. We have him here, Middle School Studios. Actually, he's in upstate New York. How you doing, sir?
Great, as always.
How'd you stumble back upon the show, man?
I was literally just perusing through YouTube one day, and you popped up. I think I follow. I mean, you guys were on YouTube anyway. You just didn't stream, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I subscribed a long time ago.
Right.
And I saw the streaming pop up, and I was like, oh, I got to watch this. So
that's cool, man.
What happened?
And now you're here. It's only like 2 weeks ago that happened, and now you're here. So, yeah. So you've been listening to the first part of the show. Is there anything you wanted to share right off the bat based on anything you're hearing or anything you prepared?
No, I agree with everything you guys were saying. And it's just that those messages are just, invaluable. They're just awesome. Oh, the one thing that I remember you did say was something about discipline, right?
Yeah.
And I always go with the, military guy that I am, the Jocko Willink, discipline equals freedom.
Yeah, it does. It does, because it leads us to freedom.
Absolutely. Yep. And you think it makes your life more stringent, but it actually doesn't. It just opens up the whole world. So discipline definitely equals freedom. At least that's been my my experience. So
well, it is, because if I'm not disciplined, like, it goes along perfectly with what we're saying, because if I'm not using my conscious mind through my own discipline which means the power of choice, well, then I'll just stay where I am. But if I decide to choose to even follow through on inspired ideas, or to even just choose to be appreciative rather than resentful, or blessing rather than condemning, or kind rather than, or generous and kind rather than selfish, we feel better. I mean,
Well, because everything is a choice, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even like the food you eat.
Oh, yeah.
So like if you know that this doesn't make you feel good, but oh man, I love it, and it's gonna give me that good dopamine hit or whatever.
Yeah.
But you have the discipline to not go there, right? I mean, everything. It's even those little tiny things. So
yeah, I do it even at night. And this is a hard one, which is I always like to read something, spiritual, positive before I go to bed, just a couple pages, because it seems that I've gotten to the practice a long time ago. Someone said that your subconscious mind is like wet cement right before you go to sleep. So what you kind of put into it at that point, it's kind of going to firm up throughout the night. And you're going to wake up either feeling the better for what you put in or maybe the worse. And either way, you could change that in the morning with, determining to do some positive readings and take time to meditate and pray in the morning before you jump out the door. But these darn cell phones and YouTube and Instagram is so attractive late at night that sometimes I'll look at a little YouTube, but I'm going to read after, and I'll do that. But then sometimes I'll read and my mind will go, little YouTube. You can watch a little YouTube. And I'll go, Darrell, why did you do that? But what? Right. So I'm not always good at that before bed, but I'm conscious of it and I'm getting better. What I am very good at is not looking at my phone in the morning before I do have my morning coffee, do my morning routine. Then I'll look at it, because if I look at it first, Bennett, there's the opportunity, no matter what's on there, to get that jolt of cortisol from something. Mm-hmm. It could be an email, it could be a notice from the bank, even if it's innocuous. It could be, a text where someone sent a YouTube post and they're well-intentioned, but the picture says it all, and already you get something to be concerned about. Right.
It's about choosing the rabbit hole you go down first. Right?
Yes.
So I want to go down the rabbit hole of, whether I'm breathing and meditating and drinking coffee, or I don't want to hear about, the latest political whatever.
Yes.
First thing in the morning. I just don't.
Yes.
Well, the other thing about discipline is it's being a good friend to your future you,
Yes.
So because I was very undisciplined when I was younger, and now I'm like every night I do 3 things, because I make a smoothie it started out, and all these things just kind of naturally came to me. I realized my family, my wife and son and I, we would go days without eating greens sometimes just because of the way we were living. So I was like, you know what? I'll make this smoothie in the blender the night before, and I'll put all these things that feels like, they taste good, and it'll make us, you hide the greens in there or whatever. So I do that. I have a group of friends. We share, we learn a cover song, and we're all play music, and so I'll play a song and then I'll read it, like you said. I'll do my reading and stuff at night. And all of I learned that when I have a list of things, I'm actually just it's really selfish. I'm being a good friend to I do everything process oriented, so that it'll make it easier for me when I wake up in the morning.
Yes.
All the stuff that I used to go, I'm just kind of too tired to that. I'll figure it out later. Now I say, no, if I can do it right now and be a good friend to my future self, let me just send the email right now. Yeah. Because what I'm now doing, I've learned to be a better friend to the other people I work with as well by being disciplined. Because I think about them. I'm like, well, if I just send it now, it'll make their life easier. Because now they'll have, and this is something that Darrell is always really good at. Just if it pops up, I'm not talking about frantically, but if it's easy, just do it right now. Then I don't have to worry about it. So that type of discipline too, just about being a good friend to my future self and to the future selves of the people around me. And then you start to become a good role model and show people that discipline is not something scary. It's for everyone, like you were saying.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Yeah, discipline used to mean to me whipping myself. This is what I thought. Yeah, this is what I believe it. Whipping myself into doing the things I think I ought to be doing.
Right.
But what that did was, you don't move. It doesn't work. It's self-defeating. You can't shame and belittle anyone into taking positive action, especially yourself. So when I started seeing it the way we're describing it today, and I love that definition, that discipline is being kind to my future self. It's an act of kindness. It's like that original. I mean, the craziest thing was when I finally discovered, and I can't believe this was hard for me to discover, that the origin of the word discipline is disciple. You can't even spell discipline without the entire word disciple, including the E at the end.
I know.
So I was like, what? And you read the etymology, and it simply means to go in a good way, to follow the loving leading or loving leader.
Yes.
It's not whipping yourself. It's not punishing yourself because you didn't do what you said, you told yourself you're going to do. The best thing to do is to forgive yourself. Okay, we didn't do that today. But you know what? I'm going to be kind to myself tomorrow, and I'm going to take a little step toward doing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's healthy discipline. That's the proper approach to the application of discipline.
For sure. Agreed.
Yeah. So because it changes. If the thing that discipline sometimes gets a bad name is that it's not coupled with love, and it's coupled with, like you said, that punishing. And I've learned its principle. The universe doesn't punish anyone. It's like it just gives you what you put into it, you tend to get back. And by grace, we actually get more back than we ever put into it. But when we realize how generous and loving our universe is, then I feel more inspired to take care of myself and inspired to take other. All I have to do is give a little to get a whole lot back, a whole lot back. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. It gets twisted, or it used to, because of the military discipline. You know what I mean? And it's just such an oxymoron. But either way, discipline is a big part of my beliefs and everything at this point. So that really resonated with me from the first part of the show.
When you mean the military's, our experience with military discipline, are you referring to boot camp?
Oh, all of it, man. It's just like, boot camp, and you hear that it's forced upon you, right?
Yes.
Just like you're saying. So you shall conform, or you shall do lots of push-ups or whatever, know? And so it's that forced discipline that you end up at some point rebelling against a little bit, maybe. And it taints the whole discipline side. And you're like, yep, I'm just going to do what I want. I'm not going to shave. I'm not going to, everything that they wanted you, they told you that you had to do. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of that cycle that guys and gals that get out of the service go through, and they realize that actual discipline is love. Right.
Yes.
And that it's not about punishment necessarily.
No.
Right.
So,
well, I'm glad you're talking about this, because that's what blew my mind. I'm sure I told you, I'm sure you know about it. I was in the military while I was in a year and so into it. I was rebelling against it in my own way. Mm-hmm. And I was sent to that rehabilitation center. Right. Here it was Marine gunny sergeants, but they were experimenting with the idea of discipline with love, meaning discipline through love.
Right.
And it's like we get there and they're like, come on, guys, let's have a hug. I'm like, what? Wait, whoa. We're gonna, because even I wasn't ready to hug.
Right.
another strange, a strange man. Like, we've been taught so much to not, and it was like, but it transformed all of us. We were learning that discipline through love, and man, I'll be forever grateful. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for, first of all, being introduced to that, but most of all, being introduced to it through the military, through the most unlikely dispensers of it. Because if ministers were telling me this, I'd go, yeah, well, that's to be expected. But that's not going to help me. But when you have Vietnam, like these gunny sergeants were like probably late 30s, early 40s. So these were Vietnam, staff sergeants, frontline guys. I mean, and they looked it, man. These guys looked, although they were 40, they looked older than I do now. They were dark tan, but all leather, and like had that sinewy body. But man, like we said about you, the guys that go through, who've been through shit, when they finally realize what the whole thing is about, we mean life, they seem to become the most optimistic, kind-hearted, generous people. They'll be firm, but they're loving. And man, it was the game changer, because it said, Darrell, you can succeed in life. You do not have to fight your way through life, but you can do it by the way of discipline and love. Discipline, faith, and love. If you can apply those three things in your life on a daily basis, not only will you survive, you'll thrive. And hearing it from a bunch of Marines was mind-blowing. I mean, the first day there, this gunny sergeant, Howard, I don't even remember his last name. I got a picture with him. If I find it, I'm going to send it to you, Bennett, because this guy looks like what you'd expect. He goes, okay, come on, Fazar, get in here. I'm like, all right, hold hands. And we're holding hands. And even that was weird, to like hold hands in a circle.
Yeah, right.
Like, you didn't do this, folks, in the military. I mean, in boot camp, there was none of that.
There's
so
none
it's like,
of this.
we're holding hands, and he goes, repeat after me. I am necessary, I am important, and I am worthwhile. And we were all like uncomfortable, so we're like, I'm necessary, I'm important, and I'm worthwhile. Louder, you sound like a bunch of weaklings. I'm necessary, I'm important, and I'm worthwhile. And it's funny because he still had that little bit of old Marine in him, but now he's like using it for good. And it worked. It worked, man. For sure. And you know what he would always say to me? And I never could digest it because I didn't buy it 100%, but he must have had some insight into what my mind was thinking. He would always say, Fazaro, God does not make junk. You are not junk.
Yeah.
And I like that he said it, but at the time, I didn't fully believe it. Mm-hmm. But man, now it really... Yeah. I feel it.
Well, I think that's what Bennett's saying too, because not every military guy got that. So you take the military level of discipline and you combine it with love.
It's crazy good.
And now it's crazy good, right, Bennett?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And with my kids, it's like teaching that lesson to my girls is it's a big deal. So
How does that work for you with your girls? And like for you, how do you model it? How do you like?
Well, nobody can like, I mean, you guys know me, but like, I don't come off as a touchy-feely kind, guy to most people. And at the end of the day, my daughters just break those barriers down for me too. And and they just, people are like, wait, that's not your dad. That's not what he does or how he is. Or I'm like, yeah. They're like, yeah, it is. So it's one of those things is you just kind of, it's also a big, one of those big lessons with this type of stuff that I learned too is never judge a book by its cover, because you just don't know. You really don't. You have no clue. You have no clue what people have gone through either, or what they're even doing. What happened that day in their life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that goes along, can be a goal. I mean, how many times have we almost had road rage, or we did?
Oh, yeah.
Road rage, especially out there where you guys live. Come on. I mean,
Right.
come on.
Right.
Traffic is nuts. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, how many times have you wanted to get out of the car and go, what's that one Michael Douglas movie?
Oh, yes.
Falling down.
Falling down.
Falling down. Like, how many times have you wanted to,
Yeah.
to just get out of a car and do that? And then you realize, well, that guy just cut you off, maybe because he's in a rush because his wife is in the hospital, or you just don't, I've really, really switched the way I think to really try and focus on things like that and go,
Yeah.
you just don't know how someone else's day has been. And I guarantee you it could be worse than mine. So to have the grace, to have that grace and I guess it leads back to discipline, to just control your thoughts, control your mind, control, the input, right? That you allow into your behavior.
Yes. That's what Wallace Wattles in the secret science of getting rich, says, whenever you find a boastful person, and that's someone throwing their weight around, that's someone acting kind of arrogant, whatever it is, like whenever you find a boastful person, or if I am one, you find one who is secretly doubtful and afraid. Simply feel the faith and let it work out in every transaction. And so, because I was noticing there's a couple family members who are acting, kind of throwing their weight around. And at first I was like triggered, tempted to be like, it was almost like it was eliciting the part of me that wanted to feel that way too. So I had to talk it through with Darrell, with my wife. And then something happened the next day, and I realized people only throw their weight around when they feel like, I'm overwhelmed. I can't handle life. No one else knows what I'm going through. I have to do it all alone. You know what I'm saying? This false sense of boast, comes across as like arrogance and mean-spiritedness, but it's because inside that person secretly is feeling like they don't know how to say, fuck man, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, right.
And thank God you learned it from Marines. I learned it through my own experiences, because I was once a guy who might get mean-spirited or just act out when I really just needed love, man. That's why I loved your story about the guy in the front.
Well, because you start to get a false, twisted sense of heroism by acting from that negative place.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably ego too.
Yeah, it's ego. It's ego.
And ego is the enemy for sure.
Yeah, and it's starting
situations.
and it's starting to propel me, because the ego says I'm separate, I'm all alone, and I better defend or be like the what do you call it from my wife? Be the knight in shining
guardian.
I'm pretty sure Lori doesn't need you to be the knight in shining armor.
Totally get
I know.
Yeah.
The ego. So
I can't believe you're saying that, because that was one of the things this family member said something to my wife, and that's another thing that'll send me, like you said, because I've learned, and it's like, I'm not trying to mince words. I mean, get too worried about words, but it's the ego that doesn't know that it's loved by the creator, that our authentic self is there. It gets detached. And of course, anyone who doesn't know that the home base has our back, it would be like a soldier suddenly in a battle thinking there is no one else on your side and you're the only one there. And you suddenly have to do it. You can't do it. You'd go crazy and you'd probably end up getting killed, and you'd probably kill someone
kill yourself.
Yeah, or whatever
you feel
it is.
So abandoned.
That's why I always got to step back and go, Darrell and I do this. Just thank God we have this stuff, because we get to feel, even if it's once a day or twice a day, the fact that we feel that we live in a loving universe and we remember who we are, that's more than someone might have felt for 25 years. They may have not felt that feeling. I remember when I was in that state where I hit a wall, I was like, I really was drowning. I mean, I was so dying of thirst for that living water, of just remembering that it's okay, Ed. God loves you. The universe loves you. Fear had taken hold of me, and it was a great turning point in my life. It turned into, that's how I met Darrell through that time. And now, you and all this stuff, I was also willing to drink. And thank God for that willingness. I mean, to drink in this way, the drink of the spirit, drink of the truth, and drink of this love.
You mean you're God intoxicated?
God intoxicated.
God intoxicated, right?
You're the goods. God poured me a drink. The good stuff. You want to read the reading that we
Yeah,
sent you? You have that there?
sure. So, pray to win. I place my attention on the beautiful, the true, and the good. The familiar phrase, look where you are going, applies not only to driving, but also to life itself. If we don't pay attention, we are likely to run into obstacles that could have been avoided. Be conscious of what you are dwelling upon, for that is what you will ultimately experience. The Bible says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Thinking in the heart goes beyond the intellect. If the feeling, the intellect into the feeling nature. Whenever you want to improve your life, direct your thoughts and feelings toward the ideal. Refuse to give your attention to that which is less than good. Do not dwell on anything that would create problems for you. Look where you are going, because you will go where you are looking. As rivers eventually merge into the oceans, so do your thoughts and feelings expand into your experiences. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. Proverbs 4:25.
That's a perfect definition of discipline.
Yeah, basically.
That whole thing could be, this is the discipline we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, it's so crazy because this principle of looking straight ahead, my buddy was talking about it, that that's what F1 drivers do. They find a point, and even though all this stuff's going on around them, they stay focused on that one point. And I was relating it to, because that's what they say in surfing. If wherever you're looking, that's where you're going to go. But when you have these weird habits of like, no, it's better if I look at my board and my body, or I'm going to look at the steering wheel. Like, just because you out of fear, got used to doing it, it takes faith to like look away from that thing and find that point and stay focused on that point. Because what happens is, when we focus on a point out there, all of a sudden our peripheral awareness opens up. And now, like, this magical, we go into that zone where, like, when Darrell's doing art, or if I'm surfing or playing music or whatever you might be doing that you love, you're not watching each little stroke. You're letting go, and now you're letting this greater wisdom kind of guide you. And all of a sudden you start becoming aware of things that you wouldn't become aware of if you were focusing out of fear. Like on a surfboard, like, in order to do a good turn, you have to look up at the wave and then turn with like your hips and your body. But a lot of people will look at their legs to try to watch their legs do the turn. But when you watch someone surf like that, all you see is their legs are doing a little turn, but their whole body's not doing it. So it just looks off. So in order to do these things, often we have to look away from the thing that we think is giving us safety, whatever that is, and find a point to look at. And I think there's something about that, this like focusing on God, on love, on joy, letting go of all the little things we think we got to manage. Focus on this broader thing, joy, appreciation, love. And then we open up and like we have a much larger awareness than we thought we did. And it just, but
what's the
until we let
saying?
go-
Being able to see the forest for the trees, right? Or what is
Yeah.
that? Right?
Yeah.
It makes me, I don't know why this popped into my head, but you bring up the point, like getting fixated on that point, right? One of the lessons that I learned a long time ago, and this was even before the military. I mean, you guys have been in the woods in the dark before,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
You can't see,
No, it's
right?
zero.
But if you stand there and let your body and your eyes adjust, and you let your hearing key in too, you can see actually, and you can see because you're not focused on a point.
Yeah.
Because at night your peripheral is so much more keen than your direct vision.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept that you're saying there, Ed.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect analogy of, walking through the forest at night. And you've got to look at everything but nothing at the same time.
Yeah.
That's funny because there's a saying the Northwest Native Americans would say, because they lived in the forest. This was a forest tribe, similar to the Eastern, well, you know, where you are in Syracuse. That tribe would probably have the same saying, and that is that when you, this is in English, of course, who knows what the, but the meaning of it was, don't worry if you get lost in the woods. Like, how are you going to find your way back home? And they would say, the forest knows the way back home. So it would just be relaxing into that state you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you start trusting now this new peripheral sensitivity. And now you're being, you know, what would be considered divinely guided through. And it's the same thing as the metaphysical meaning of, you know, when something's upsetting you or an adversary sticks it to you, turn the other cheek. You know, I just think that's silly. What, turn the other cheek so they can hit that one too? But no, what he means is, no, turn, like, use your discipline to get back on to the loving beam, the higher beam, the forgiving beam, the letting go of beam, and move now in that healthy direction. Don't stay put, resenting, you know, scheming now to get even and going in this direction that's going to, like it said in the reading, cause more problems.
Yeah.
That's what the turn the other cheek means. Don't get fixated on this issue. Turn the other cheek.
Yeah, it's like trying to look for your keys if you in the state of mind that they don't exist or anything. But if you open your mind to they do exist, ask the angels to help you. Say that funny little prayer, Tony, Tony, come around. Something's lost and can't. Anything to go, like, don't go through the forest as someone who's lost and scared. Walk through with the same confidence you would if you knew where you were going. And it goes right. I mean, I did not even get this out of this until now, but it says whenever you want to improve your life, direct your thoughts and feelings toward the ideal. Refuse to give your attention to that which is less than good. Do not dwell on anything that would create problems for you. Look where you are going, because you will go where you are looking. As rivers eventually merge into the ocean, so do your thoughts and feelings expand into your experience, like Bennett was talking about. And then the Proverbs, let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. I did not get any of that until you read it. I mean, any of the stuff we're talking about until you read it now. And it goes along with the Einstein quote, which is like the fundamental question everyone must answer is this a friendly universe? Because if the forest is friendly, let's go take a walk with our friends, and we'll find our way home.
I mean, like, even think about that last, fix your gaze directly before you, right? Yeah. That doesn't mean you have to focus on something either.
Right.
No. Think about how many times you guys have seen those pictures of those books where if you look at it, like, kind of like look through it.
Yeah. Relax.
You see other things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you unfocus, sometimes you see a totally different word or a totally different picture, right? It's just a way to be, just about being open to the, again, open to the universe, open to God, open to, you know, signs and everything coming from external, you know, because the world's so much bigger than just you or I or you know, whatever. Like, our environment kind of tells it all, right? And if you don't open up to that, you just get so lost and mired down in nonsense.
Nonsense. Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. I look at my daughters and be like, God, you're just talking nonsense. Stop. Like, you know, like, none of this matters. Focus on the things that really matter in life.
Yeah. And sometimes we have to soften our gaze, because when we get scared, we look too intently at things, then we lose all sight of what's really going on. It's like I was telling someone recently, like, it's like mixing music. There's a certain point where you gotta walk away, otherwise you'll focus so harshly on the music that you'll take out all the good parts, because you're like, I gotta clean this thing up. You know, it's like you lose the feeling of it. And I think that's what it is, right? You lose the feeling of life when you focus too intently on it. And the feeling is telling you a lot more than you realize.
Raw life, right? not the edited life.
No.
Yeah, you got to have a little bit of raw in there.
One of the reasons I love your guys' podcast, and it's how I do my podcast too, is raw. I don't edit it really, because you take away so much, whether it's background noise, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like what I said there. Or,
Gotta let it go.
Gotta let it go.
We're that voice in me is the worst judge, and if it is the reason why we weren't enjoying doing those little what do they call those things on the reels on Instagram, where they would edit it into like so that you could get it like going as fast as it could, like it would take out the space between words. But in that space, like there was psychologists like in the 80s or 70s that would talk about like they would tell stories with a certain pace. Reverend Ike, there's a lot of people that do this, and they leave the space in the middle because the space in the middle is like you falling into the energy of the story. And without that, it's like, it's like that doesn't get it done. There's a rhythm to life. Yeah.
Definite frequency, right?
Yes.
So what's the name of your podcast for everyone who's listening?
Oh gosh, I have a few. The latest is it's called the Full Spectrum Frontiers, and it's kind of military based, but it's talking about our culture to an extent.
All right. Full Spectrum Frontiers.
Yep.
All right.
And I talk about the intersection between national security and life. Really
nice.
Oh, interesting.
And then I have one other called Broadcasting Seeds, where I'm planting seeds in people's minds.
Nice.
And it's more of a fun kind of like I talk about everything from like Sasquatch to UFOs to
nice.
All kinds of conspiracy theories, things like that. So
yes. What's the other one? Full Spectrum
Frontiers.
And then the other one is Broadcasting Seeds.
Broadcasting Seeds, yeah.
Great. All right, we'll put a link in the show title.
Yeah, in the description. We'll add those in the description.
Yeah. So some of it's a bit out there, but it's pretty fun. Lots of research. It's good.
Well, that's our listeners like that.
It's been said about Darrell and Ed that we're a little bit out there.
A little bit out there.
Yeah.
Well, Bennett, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you.
Always. Anytime
so glad we
guys,
reconnected.
For sure. This is how many years have we been doing this now? Back and forth?
Well, 10 years, is it?
10 years.
Yeah, 2014 is when you and I met, Darrell. So
yeah, well, there you go.
Holy cow!
Amazing.
That's crazy.
Wow, right?
It doesn't seem that long ago.
No, but it was 10 years ago, 2014. That's right.
Hey, shout out to Lois Conklin, by the way, who said, tuned in late, but caught you're talking about Corinthians 13. Have been making art cards that get sent into Unity Art Center in Missouri. And Susan Hodgson said, hello from Canada. Well, thank you both. We love you.
Oh, and this is Gidget.
Gidget's here in studio with us, keeping us calm and relaxed.
We got a story about you, Bennett.
Yeah.
This is a good one from when you were in.
Gidget actually handed me the story. She was doing research about you. She said, years ago, Bennett Tanton was appointed as the new camp commander. While inspecting the place, he saw two soldiers guarding a bench. He went over and asked them why they do it.
We don't know. The last commander told us to do so, and so we did. It is some sort of regimental tradition.
Bennett searched for the last commander's phone number, called him to ask him why he wants guards in this particular bench.
I don't know. The previous commander had guards, and I kept the tradition.
Going back another 3 commanders, Bennett found a now 100-year-old retired general.
Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to do a Bennett impression.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Keep going.
I'm now the CO of the camp you commanded 60 years ago. I found 2 men assigned to guard a bench. Could you please tell me more about the bench?
The retired general said,
what? The paint is still wet?
So good.
Well, it's ironic. I mean, it's funny because that stuff happens.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? And that's what happens when we still live off of old patterns of fear that were planted in our consciousness.
For sure, yeah.
Passed on generation to generation. We're still protecting ourselves from something that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, once again, Bennett Tanton, thank you. Let's sing this one out, shall we?
Yeah. Okay.
Some guys have all the luck. Some guys have all the pain. Some guys get all the breaks. Some guys do nothing but complain.
Visit DarrellandEd.com to find links to everything we
Broadcasting
do.
seeds.
And thank you.
Full Spectrum Frontiers.
For being a part of Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed.
Some guys have all the luck. Some guys have all the pain. Some guys get all the breaks. Some guys do nothing but complain. Yeah. Woo.
There's nothing like a bad singing duo to cap off a good episode.
Darrell and I love you guys. All right. Thank you, Bennett Tanton.
Bennett, we will be in touch. I'm going to tune
sure,
into
guys.
those podcasts now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll probably like them. They're Ed and
Right
Darrell.
on.
You guys will like them.
We're excited.
Oh, man, it's so good to see
Thanks
you.
for taking the time to be with us today.
Yeah.
Always. Thanks. Appreciate it, guys.
All right. And everyone out there in YouTube land, love you too. Have a great week.
We'll see you later, Bennett.
Take care, guys.
Bye.